The champs is here.
Yo, we out here on the track when the dreamers run. Each step a testament, yeah, we get it done. Crushing all the hurdles, breaking through the pain. The Texas sun shines bright as we train in the lane. Push it to the limit, never look back. Texas track dad, we run the show. Talking fast times, how the athletes grow. In the podcast groove, we bring the heat. From the field to the mic, can't accept defeat. From Dallas to Houston, yeah, we're raising the bar. Every athlete's story, every victory a star. We hustle on the field, focus sharp like a spear. The clock's ticking down, but the finish line is near. With every single stride, we own the sound. Texas track dad, we run the show. Talking fast times, how the athletes grow. In the podcast groove, we bring the heat. From the field to the mic, can't accept defeat. From Dallas to Houston, yeah, we're raising the bar. Every athlete's story, every victory a star. We hustle on the field, focus sharp like a spear. The clock's ticking down, but the finish line is near. With every single stride, we own the sound. Texas track dad, we run the show. Talking fast times, how the athletes grow. In the podcast groove, we bring the heat. From the field to the mic, can't accept defeat. So lace up your shoes, let the journey commence. Texas track dad, we build the suspense.
Yo, what's going on, guys? What is going? Hey, how y'all like that video? That wasn't me rapping though, but hey, I did pretty good on the intro, so I decided to switch it up a little bit. That's the new intro there, guys. Hey, we jumping off of 33 people in here already. We're just not getting started. So I know y'all don't want to hear me talk. I know why you're here. I know what you want. You're here to see this superstar. This Baylor commit, Alyssa Jones. We're going to get into it, but first, you know what I got to do. I got to shout out to my sponsor, TTFCA. The Winter Clinic is going down pretty soon. Hold on, guys. Let me get IG up over here as well. The Winter Clinic is going down. It's going down in January. The 3rd and 4th is going to be at Waco Convention Center. It's going down. Make sure you get out there. They got a good roster out there. Carl Lewis, Michelle Freeman, a bunch of Olympians and professional coaches. Make sure you get out there. Shout out to my guys over there at Trackborn. You know, I got to shout them out. If you need any track and field equipment or anything like that, shout out trackborn.com. And to register, to get more info for TTFCA, Winter Clinic, go to ttfca.org and have all that information. But hey, enough of me running my mouth. Let's bring the one and only into the building. What's going on?
Hey, how are you?
See, you big time now. So I appreciate you making some time for me now.
Of course. I'm definitely not big time. Soon.
It's good to see you back on the show. It's good to see you back on the show. For those of you who don't know, Alyssa Jones, sprinter, jumper. She just committed to Baylor. She's going there. We're gonna talk to her today. We're gonna talk about the recruiting process. We're gonna get into that a little bit and see how it was for her or whatever. So before we do, why Baylor? Why did you pick Baylor?
Honestly, I wasn't expecting to go to Baylor, but when I stepped on the campus and throughout the visit, I really felt like God was like, this is where you're supposed to go. So, when God tells you to move, you better move. And so I did.
Yeah. And like I say, that is definitely not a bad choice at all. I've been down there seeing that campus, spoke with those coaches down there. And I get behind good coaches like Coach Ford, Coach Dalton, Coach Stacy, all of them. They're great people, and I do support them because they're great. let's do this. Here we go. Can you tell us about your journey in track and field and how you first got started in the sport?
So we're a military family. When we were stationed in Germany, I think I was around 4 years old. I've done all the sports, dance, soccer, basketball, all of them. But I ran track in Germany, and then we moved back to the States. We were in Texas, and my dad was on his way home from work, and he drove past a track practice that was taking place, and he was like, "Oh, we're gonna get Alyssa in a track." And so, and then I think the next couple of weeks we went out there. And I think they were having Junior Olympics that year. And so we went out there, we were going to join, and they were like, well, we're kind of about to go to Junior Olympics. We don't know if it's a good time for her to join. And my mom was like, let my daughter race the kids on the team. If she wins, then she gets to join. And so the rest is history. That's when I started really running track.
Nice. Yeah, so mom was out there. Hey, your mom's like, hey, you about to beat everybody out there.
Yes, all the time. Always vouching for me.
There's nothing wrong with that. Are you still enjoying it? Or are you still enjoying track and field?
Oh, yes, of course. I think right now, this is the most like I've enjoyed track and training and just every aspect of it, besides just like competing and winning the most in the time that I've done it.
Yeah. And make sure you keep enjoying it. So you got a good camp behind you. You're doing a perfect job. You're doing an excellent job. Let's see. At what point in your career did you realize, you know what, I might can maybe get a scholarship and run some college track? At what point did you decide that? Was it your freshman year, sophomore year, or when did that start clicking in your head that I think I can run I know I can run on a higher level?
So actually, my first track team, Five Hills track, it was like in Killeen, Texas. That was the team that I had joined. I tried to quit. So we're military, so we moved a lot. I tried to quit at the end of when we were getting ready to move. We were moving to Kansas, and I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. And my track coach, actually, we were having our end of the year track banquet. It was right before I moved. He sat down with me and he was crying. Like this grown man, he was crying. He was like, you cannot quit. You have such a great amount of talent. Like that's something that I will never forget. He was like, you cannot quit. Promise me when you move that you're going to do and join another team. And so when I moved to Kansas, I joined another team, but it was never like, oh, I'm going to run in college. I'm going to go D1. Like I'm going to make a career out of this until probably my freshman year at Nike Nationals, where we really saw that I had a little bit more than talent and I was actually pretty good. And that's when I think I piqued the interest of some coaches at that meet, and I ended up talking to some people. So
okay. So how did that feel when those coaches they came up to you and those college coaches or whatever started coming up to you and like, hey, here's my card. We want you there. How did that make you feel?
It's really yeah, it's a great feeling. It's almost validating because we go through so much as track athletes. I think track is one of the hardest things. It's like the basis for all of these other sports like running. And so to make it your sole sport, just running in circles and trying to get as fast as you can, I think it's really hard. And to have someone see that you put in that work and to want you because of that is pretty cool.
Yeah. And we have these questions and I will go off grid. I'm about to right now because you said some great stuff. So how do you deal with some of that pressure, a track and field?
For me, I feel like the most pressure that I deal with comes from myself. I think like, especially in my family, we just have high expectations of ourselves. I've never really had to deal with my parents or like my coaches putting pressure on me because I already like expect so much from myself. And so dealing with it, I lean on my parents a lot, and I just have to trust in my faith in God and trust in like my training. Like if I put the work in and I do what I'm supposed to do, then I let God handle the rest. And I'm in all my barriers, all my boundaries, everything is covered.
That's right. You worry about yourself. You take care of yourself. You're exactly right. And the parents that's listening to this right now, be careful because you can put too much pressure on your athlete. So if you see them stressing out, give them a break, communicate with them, because mental health is important. It's important, especially in track and field. Good answer. Good answer. Good answer. And that wasn't even on the question sheet.
No, and I'd like to add,
That's good. Yeah.
from a young age, dealing with the track and everything, I had really bad anxiety. Like for the first couple of years of Junior Olympics, the night before my competition, bawling my eyes out, tears, like and I had to sit down with my parents and they had to talk to me. And it's a separation of, you're not your sport, you're someone else. This is just something that you do. It's not who you are. And so for me, I put my identity now in Christ. And so even if I don't do good, my parents still love me. Even if I don't do good, God still loves me. Like I'm still good. And so having them separate really helps me.
Yeah, you are dropping some gems right now, and I hope I hope the young audience is listening, because you can put too much on yourself, stress yourself out, and put you in a place you don't want to be.
Right.
Yeah, you're exactly right on that. Can you see the questions pop up here? We got one question here. Let's see. Hold on one second.
Oh, I can see it.
You can see it. Let me pull it up here. Yeah, guys, if y'all got a few questions, look like you got a question on IG as well. I'll get to it in a minute. What is the hardest part for you in the recruiting process prior to deciding on Baylor?
That's a good question. The hardest part for me, I'll say communication and just keeping lines open and juggling. Like you've got practice, you've got schoolwork, and then you've got all these coaches texting you. And so knowing like how to respond to coaches, when's the correct time, and how to like word those messages, or even like how to tell a college like, oh, I'm not really interested, or when they come back to back and it starts to pile up, it can be a little overwhelming. And so just dealing with that in the beginning was hard for me. But I had my parents to help me with it. I would just be like, oh, this coach texted me. What do I say? Like, or sometimes my communication was bad. And because there were so many, some people's messages just would not be answered for a long time. But yeah, that was probably the hardest part.
I don't think people really understand what you said because I know exactly where you're coming from.
Okay.
I'm sure you are getting multiple calls a day, multiple emails, and it can just like,
it's a lot. It just all comes at once. And so I started my process early. I was getting antsy because I felt like my state performance probably wasn't the best I could have done, like given my circumstances. And I just felt like, oh my gosh, is this enough? Am I going to be recruited still? And I got really antsy. So my coach is like, my coach, Sue Humphrey, she's my jump coach. She was like, Alyssa, calm down. If you're really worried about it, you can email schools. Let's make a email. We'll send it out to a bunch of schools and we'll see what happens. So I sat down that night. I created my email draft. I sent it out to 10 schools. And I don't know what I was expecting, but I think 8 of them got back to me that night. 1 got back like 2 months later, and 1 of them just never got back to me. And after that, I got the ball rolling on my own, but I wasn't expecting so much. And so when it all came at me at once, I got overwhelmed very easily.
Oh yeah. You make a great point. You initiated, some contact stuff, and
wasn't ready.
You lit the fire, is what you did. It spread everywhere. That's what happened. But yeah, you got to keep your composure, and it's a lot to take in.
Definitely.
You can go. I believe they have unlimited official visits right now, and you go meet all these coaches, and you go meet different athletes at the campus. It's going to be different campuses. You're gonna like everything. You're gonna like everything, but you got to weed it out. What you did. And pick the school that best fits you as a person, and not only you, your family, your support system too. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? It's got to be an agreement on both sides of that. But hey, you did well. You did well. And I'm telling y'all, the athletes that's going into this recruitment process, it's going to be stressful, guys. It's going to be stressful. Make your list or whatever. Sort out like probably your high caliber athlete, like Alyssa Jones here, top 50, 30, whatever. And you're going to have to weed it down. Because I know you still got probably about 30 coaches you even get to talk to. But it gets crazy, guys. It gets crazy. But shout out to your parents too for being there for you.
Yes, for sure.
Provide that support. Let's see, how did you balance the academic and athletic considerations in deciding which school to visit or to consider?
For me, it wasn't really a question. When I was looking at schools, I felt like most of them were decently equal, or wherever you go, wherever you get a college degree from, it's still a college degree. That is what's going to get you super far. But I think most of the schools that I was looking at, they're pretty evenly distributed, I would say.
Yeah. Okay. Now, as far as your major, did you decide on a major yet, or know what you're going to major in?
In the beginning, I was thinking nursing, but as I've thought about it more, I would say I'm leaning more towards business. But yeah.
Okay. So we got another question. You're a popular person. All right. All right. What is one thing you learned doing this process that you would tell other athletes not to do or do?
I would say for me, especially, what helped me get through this process was really knowing myself and having people around me who know me. And so when it comes down to deciding schools, what I really realized is that every school has the same thing. Every school has their sprint coach, their jump coach. They have a weight room. They almost always have a nutrition person. There's probably going to be one thing about each school that will set them apart from each other that's just unique to that school. But for me, it was like, where do I fit in best? I had to know myself. Do I like to stay up late and go out and party, or am I a homebody? Do I like to be at home? Am I someone who I like to hang out with a lot of friends, or do I like to keep a close circle? Do I like to go to church? Like surrounding yourself with like-minded people. So knowing things like that, and also knowing how your best coach, like what's your coaching style. I looked back on ways that I was coached previously and ways that the coaches at these schools I was being recruited at, how they coach. And I picked out of the bunch, which one is going to be best for me? Who am I best able to take criticism from? So I would tell athletes not to try and go to a school that doesn't fit them or fit their lifestyle. You don't need to branch out and try and mesh with a group of people or with a school that's not you. Don't try and make something fit that's not going to work. And then what I would tell you to do is to be very honest with yourself. I really liked UT, but I think what I realized is that I liked the idea of UT more than anything. I liked the idea of the city. I don't actually like the city. I really liked Waco and how it was more like the country. Like that's what I'm really used to, is like the suburban areas. I'm not a city person. And so being honest with myself about things like that and accepting it instead of just fighting it, you know?
Mm-hmm. Listen, I'm telling you on it tonight. You're on it. You're on it tonight. I'm telling you, because I got all these questions and I can't even get through the questions. But you said a couple of things on that. You need to go where you are compatible
Right.
with that coach, right?
For sure.
And that makes a big difference.
Definitely.
Like I say, you got to go to all these schools, and every coach has a different technique or whatever. But you know, you as a person, you know how you perform on certain type of coaching, right? So when athletes, we all going on these recruiting process, make sure you compatible. I can't talk. Make sure you compatible with the coach. But that's golden right there, because a lot of people don't consider that. They see names of schools and they want to go. Then they get there like, this coach really, I can't learn from him. I'm just here, and
Yeah.
that's when other stuff, transfer portal. That's when all this other stuff happens. But that's very important. Research the coach, research his training, talk to the athletes that's been there, talk to people who's been around them, try to get to know their personality because it's going to go a long way, right? You're talking about spending 4 years at a university with a coach or whatever. You need to know everything you need to know. And the major thing you need to know is also is he going to make you better as an athlete? Is he going to make you better as a person? Is it going to help you succeed at what you're trying to do, right? Because you just don't want to go to the school like, hey, all right, you got 10 hundreds, go run that and go study hall or something, right? Yeah, you don't want that. You want a coach that's going to be involved with you. Also, another thing you also said, hold on, you got a question coming up on IG. Enough of my rambling. Here's a question for you. Who is a track athlete that you most compare yourself to? That's from IG.
Like a pro, in pro wise, most compare myself to. I'll say I really admire Tara, but if I'm comparing myself to her, I think we're kind of opposite personalities almost. I think I'm a little bit more reserved, and I think she's a little bit. I think I'm very outgoing, but I think she does it in a very entertaining way that I haven't captured yet on the long jump runway. And then I love Gabby Thomas and everything that she does, from like how she got her degree at Harvard and 3 gold medals this year, and what she's doing with athletes right now. I just love everything about it.
Nice. And guys, if y'all have questions, go ahead and drop your questions. We'll try to get them in. Looking back at the recruiting process, is there anything you would have done different during that process?
I don't think so. There's no blueprint. There's no correct way to do it. I think in the beginning, if there was, that would have been super helpful. But I think in the end, I ended up where I was supposed to be, and so I wouldn't really change anything. If I really had to choose something, I would say maybe I would try and do better with my communication with the coaches, and just trying to maintain that relationship with some of the coaches.
Yeah, I get that because you got a lot of coaches contacting you. You want to reply to everybody. It's tough. I mean, it's tough. It's the nature of the beast. Nature of the beast. Fortunately, has your training and competition schedule changed now that you're going to Baylor to compete?
No. So I mean, right now I'm really just preparing for my senior season. I'll say what changed my training is when I joined to the people I train with right now at Amex. That's when, like, I feel like the elite training really went up to elite status, and the workouts really went up to I'm gonna be passed out at the end of it. So yeah, I think that's.
I see Amex on IG. I know what they be doing out there.
Yeah, they put me to work every single day, every day.
Yeah. Okay. Do you say Coach Humphreys? That she's your jump coach?
Coach Sue Humphrey. Yeah, she's.
Yeah. Shout out to Coach Humphreys. I know Coach Humphreys. Nice. Yeah, she's awesome. Let's see. What has been your biggest adjustment for you, both athletically and academically, since going off to college, getting ready for college? What's a big adjustment you had to implement, or is there one, or are you still doing the same thing?
Yeah, right now I'd say there hasn't. I'm still in high school. There hasn't been a super big adjustment. I will say some things that I think have set me up better for college are, well, academically. First off, I'm doing dual credit classes, and so Lucky me, I'll have a bunch of credits by the time I transfer into college. I think that was something very smart on my part. Even if you don't get a full scholarship, if you do those AP classes and you get your credit, or you do your dual credit classes, and you're traveling to a college that's in state, or even some out of state schools will accept it, I think that really will put you ahead of the curve. So I'll already have a lot of my credits knocked out of the way. And then something else, I'll say athletically, that's helped me. I think right now, when my training went up when I went to AMAX, I think that's one step. I'm not going to say it's matching what people do at college, but it's one step closer to what they do at college. And so instead of going from a huge jump from high school training to college training, I've already started weightlifting, already started working on my form. That's one less thing that I'll have to seriously worry about when I go to college.
Nice. And I'll tell you this, time management. You're going to have to get very good at it, because when you go off to Baylor, hey, it's another level. It's track, it's breakfast, track, class, in that order, over and over again, Throw some lunch in there, dinner, some meetings.
Yes.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. All the athletes that's listening, guys, I got to work on your time management, because when you get on that college level, it's going to be all you do. I know y'all see the TikToks, what track athletes, they falling on the bed, crawling on the floor.
Oh my gosh.
They for real. They for real. they joking, but they for real. It gets that real. It gets that real. What are some of your goals for the season?
I really want to enjoy myself after getting out of like the recruiting process and everything. Now I can just really sit back and enjoy myself. I think since freshman year, I'll say freshman year was the least pressure I had, because you're a freshman, you have nothing to lose. And I think that's really when I did my best in track. And then each year you have a little bit more pressure. Now you're starting to get looks from colleges. And so now senior year, I'm signed. I've got my place secured pretty much. And so I think really enjoying myself for long jump, being consistent. And then for the 1 and the 2, we're definitely dropping time, even in the 400. So
yeah, you I'll tell you this, you definitely enjoy your senior year. You committed to Baylor, you go to Baylor. Enjoy. You've been running for a long time. You've been running for a long time. So enjoy your senior year, compete or whatever, but make sure you enjoying yourself before you go off to school. And not put too much pressure on yourself before that. I got another question too, also, before we wrap things up here. Here we go. You ready for this one?
I think so.
Are you faster than Texas track dad?
I don't want to hurt your feelings or anything. I'm an honest person. I'm definitely faster. The last time I saw an adult, they pulled their hamstring. It's happened like 2 times. I'm just saying.
Oh no, I think I might can get you though, Alyssa. I can't get you. I'm not gonna pull my hammy. No, I'm not gonna do it. Not gonna do it. Liz, I appreciate you coming on here. Do you have anything? Get some shout outs.
Okay.
Shout
out to Coach Sue for helping me through the recruiting process. Obviously, shout out to my parents for being my backbone and my mirror in this and telling me the truth when I needed to hear it. Thank you for my coaches. Thank you to my coaches at AMAX for this tough training that I'm struggling through, but that's going to make me so much better through the end of the year. And shout out to God for making this all possible, for showing me the way.
Yeah, can you give them your social media handles as well?
Yes. So on Instagram, it's alyssa.j.jones. That's ALYSSA.j.jones. And then on Twitter, it's at Alyssa Jones 44. And yeah.
Yeah, guys, I added to the comments too. I believe it might be in one of these descriptions too. Do you have time for one more question on IG? It just came up. What is your favorite weight room lift?
Um, Okay, so like in the beginning of my like weights was so challenging for me, just like learning the form and everything, and it's so different from running. But I've really grown to love it, and I think I would say power cleans, just because I feel so strong doing them.
Yeah,
Like I'm like, oh, look at my muscles.
yeah, yeah,
I really like. I've
yeah,
grown to really like
yeah.
power.
Yeah. Those cleans, yeah, they'll get you explosive. Those, yeah, they'll get you right. They get you right. Shout out to IG with the questions, man. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate it. Well, listen, once again, I appreciate you coming on the show. You know, I will be following you this season through Baylor, through wherever you program, whatever you're gonna do. I'll be right there cheering you on. Keep up the good work. Like I said, you got a good support system, your family, those coaches, everybody who's in your camp. They are doing a fantastic job. Shout out to them. Is there any more? Is there anything else before we get out of here?
I'll just give one more piece of advice.
Yeah,
Don't
yeah, go
sweat
ahead.
the whole process at all. Don't stress over it too much. I think what's meant for you will always come to you. And I mean, if all else fails, just reach out to the coaches. You can go on the school's website. You can find the head coach, assistant coach, jumps, throws, multis, all the coaches' information, phone numbers, emails, and you can always reach out to them and ask them. And if you're ever like needing any sort of advice, athletes that you've competed against prior who've already gone to college, I've reached out to so many athletes to get help. Lauren Lewis, I talked to her several times on the phone, asking her questions. I've talked to other athletes. I think don't hesitate to reach out to anyone and ask questions, even to me. I think everyone wants to help someone in some sort of way, and the worst that they can do is not respond or say no.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Reach out to those athletes because they're going to tell you the truth. They're going to tell you what it's really like. You know, they're going to tell you what it's really like. And you need to know that. And as far as our recruiting guys, recruiting is aggressive, right? It's aggressive. It's competitive. If you want to go to a school, do not sit around and wait for this coach to contact you. First, make sure you fit the standards to go to that school, first of all. Second of all, then you want to reach out to that school. Like let's say you can go on the website, go to the track and field page, guys. It's going to have most of these schools already have the questionnaire on the website. So just go there, fill out that questionnaire, then email that coach a couple of weeks later or a week later and see what's going on. If you don't get a response from the coaches, guys, you got to move on. You got to move on. You got to move on to another school because you can't, because your time is not on your side when it comes to recruiting sometimes. So you could be waiting for this one coach to respond. He could be done with this whole recruiting process while you got two more other coaches, you know, are well qualified to get you where you want to be. So do your research. Y'all know I can talk, so especially on this subject here, but do your research. Alyssa, once again, great job. Proud of you. Keep up the good work and go Bears.
Go Bears.
Let's get out of here.
The champs is here.
Yo, we out here on the track where the dreamers run. Each step a testament, here we get it done.